Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to the vlog. I hope the start of your day is absolutely incredible. You know, every now and then, I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta ask the question, why do people hate me? Come here, Sunflower. Come here, girl. She is so beautiful. And I often think to myself, you know, I'm not a really hateable guy. At least in my life, I've never been hated by hardly anybody except on the internet. And I do get quite a bit of hate on the internet. And I have to ask myself, you know, why is that? And let me just be clear, you know, back in the day when I used to get hate, it really got to me. I mean, when I read negative comments, when people would do terrible things, say terrible things about me, it really bothered me. But now it really doesn't. You know, I guess I've grown to the point where I just realized that 99% of the hate that I get is either from people that have never met me or people that are just assuming things about me that they don't really know. So it doesn't bother me anymore at all. I mean, like, I read a negative comment and I actually kind of feel bad for the person that's making the comment. Like, why would you take the energy to make that comment about me? And listen, that doesn't mean that I don't deserve some negativity and I don't need to be scrutinized about the things that I do, because certainly I think that everyone should have some scrutiny on them, especially people that work with animals. So let's take a look at why people actually do hate me. And the truth is that in the past, I've certainly made a lot of mistakes. When we started on the internet 13 years ago, things were different, right? I did bite videos, I did sensational videos, and the truth is that the majority of the people back then that loved it ultimately years later started to hate it. But it was different back then. You know, some things were more acceptable back then than they are now, and I stopped. I listened and I stopped doing those types of bite videos. Did the people that hate me stop hating me? No, they just found another reason, and that's kind of the whole point, right? I am willing to learn, and I'm willing to change and adapt. And I can tell you, I don't know that you could pick anyone that has changed and adapted more in the last 3 years than I certainly have. So certainly, you know, I've made my fair share of mistakes in the past, and rather than taking those down and pretending like they weren't there, I've left those videos up. You know, I'm not gonna hide from my past. I accept the fact that I did some things that I'm not even proud of at all. But, you know, I wanna show people that you can live, you can learn, and you can change, and you can adapt. And now I hope I have a more better, positive outlook on things, and I really want to try to continue to inspire people without creating all of that negativity that really followed me from my past. Now let me just start by saying I didn't do bite videos because I wanted snakes to look bad. That was obviously never my intention. The truth was that, you know, when snakes were biting me, I was trying to make it like it wasn't that big of a deal, right? You know, so I would call them cheeky monkey, we would laugh about it, and like I said, back then it really helped get a lot of eyeballs on our content, which ultimately meant we could share that kind of passion and that love of animals, right? And that's really the way I looked at it. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm making snakes look bad. I was thinking I could bring attention to snakes, and sometimes sensationalism does bring attention, and once you get that attention, and then you can really use that attention to push your agenda, and that agenda was just for people to love these animals so much. But again, times have changed, right? Back then, you know, there was a lot of crazy videos out there that if you did now, you would get in a lot of trouble, and some of the YouTubers now have kind of paid the price of things that they've done in the past, myself included. But at the same time, I've changed a lot, and it is kind of frustrating every now and then when you see somebody say something about something you did 8 years ago. Think about your life and something you did 8 or 10 years ago if you were still being judged by it. Not saying I shouldn't be judged, guys, because I completely agree with you. I'm just saying that at some point you've got to look at the merits of what you're doing now and the changes that you've made, and kind of leave that in the past. But hey, I'm going to be honest with you, those haters, they'll always find a reason. Then the next reason was that people said that my animals were kept in too small of cages, which, you know, looking back, I kind of maybe agree with them in some cases. You know, I mean, I definitely had some of my bigger snakes in cages that I think should have been bigger, and I made that change, right? I did the reptarium. Now I've got huge enclosures. And I'm continuing to do it. I've continued to upgrade the best I possibly can. And again, I'm not trying to like defend myself in the past. I don't want you guys to think that at all. I'm just trying to say that it is kind of interesting that even after all the change and the positivity that I try to bring, that there's still that small group of people, and they're vocal, right? You know, the vocal minority is the saying, right? And I think it's really weird. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I know this is going to sound a little bit rude for me, but if you're 30 or 40 years old, and for the last 2.5 or 3 or 4 years, every day you just woke up to try to say something bad about me, you might want to reflect on yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's really about you, not about me, right? I mean, listen, do I deserve some criticism? Absolutely. Will I make mistakes in the future? 100% I will. But at the same time, I try so hard to be the best person I possibly can be, to try to do best for the animals and get people excited about these animals. It's just really weird to me that there would be people that would hate me because they don't even really know who I am, and if they spent 10 minutes with me in person, I have a feeling they might change their opinion. Alright guys, they are now available, the coloring books, which are really more like a coloring comic book, to be honest with you. This is After Hours at the Reptarium. Just amazing illustrations that my friends did. You can color these guys. They're available. You can go to thereptarium.com and get you some, because I'm telling you what, this is amazing. This is volume 1, and definitely when we're sold out of volume 1, we're not going to make any more, so make sure to get volume 1, and then we'll maybe start working on volume 2. Now let me just make sure you understand there's a difference between hate and criticism. Criticism is something that I'm always looking for. I want you to be constructive with your criticism. But if you come at me and say right off the bat that I'm terrible, that I'm an animal abuser, that somehow my content sucks, that's not criticism. That's not constructive. That's just hatred. You know what I mean? I mean, you wouldn't go in person and probably say those things to my face. And it's really easy with the anonymity of the internet to kind of punch up things and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that, again, the only reason I'm making the video on it is to kind of show that it's a silly thing, really. Like, it doesn't help anything. It's not hurting me. I mean, our businesses are doing great. Everything is going fantastic. So, and it doesn't affect me emotionally, personally, and it's something you might want to think about for you too, right? If you maybe do that to somebody else, like, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of YouTube videos, and if I don't like one, I just click off. I don't feel the need to tell someone that I hate their content, and I certainly have never obsessed over anybody about trying to make them fail, because me failing doesn't help the reptile hobby, right? I mean, if you guys think that I'm the worst thing for the hobby, that's just crazy, I mean, we bring so many people into the hobby because we show how much we love these animals and how much they mean to us, and then people would go from fearing them to thinking they're amazing, and then ultimately maybe even keeping them, or at least having a better appreciation for them. So even if you don't like me as a person, which is completely fine, by the way, if you don't like my hair, you don't like the way I look, you don't like my cheeky talk or whatever the case, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But certainly you can't say that I'm somehow harming the hobby, because that's just kind of crazy. And maybe a few years ago when it really did affect me, I understood, because maybe someone that wanted to get under my skin, or like, oh, I want Brian to be miserable, or I want to tear Brian down, and I know that what I'm saying about him is really going to affect his mental state, I could understand that in a way. I mean, it's a very hateful thing to do, but I do get it. Now that it doesn't bother me, I wonder why they would do it. I mean, I'm not kidding you. There are people that wake up every morning and go on a little Facebook group just to talk about what I've done in the vlog today and how bad of a person I am. I just think that that's really sad. I mean, it really is, I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. But the truth is, the things that typically are said about me wanting fame, money, I'm arrogant, anyone that knows me knows that those three things are certainly far from the truth. I mean, do I do things to make money? Yes. Do I do things to create a following? Of course I do. Does that motivate me? No, it doesn't. That's not at all why I do this. So it's kind of an interesting thing, because it's almost like when I read things about me, it's like I'm reading something about somebody else. Because I'm like, there's no way they could be talking about me. And again, I'm not saying it affects me. I shouldn't even be spending this vlog talking about it. I think the reason I brought it up is just simply because I want the world to be a better place, and I wish there wasn't this type of hatred, not just towards me, because again, it doesn't matter. I can take it. Other people can't. I'll be honest with you, a few years ago when it really affected me, it really did bring me to the brink of like wanting to end my life, That's why I had to get a grip on it. I had to realize that these people's opinion of me mean nothing. And literally, there's a saying that says, don't let people rent space in your head for free. And I no longer do it. And I tell you, that was one of the most liberating things that ever happened to me, is when I could literally look at a bad comment, a hateful comment, or any kind of hate about me, and literally go, that's on you, man. That's reflecting your view of yourself, not your view of me, because that's the type of person you are. And that's the only reason why I'm even spending any time talking about it, to be totally honest with you. Some of the hate is really self-serving, to be totally honest with you. What I mean by that is that people will complain about like my clickbaiting, which, hey, listen, we have sensational titles and thumbnails to get people to try to click, right? That's part of YouTube, right? But then they'll go and complain about that, but then they use my name and my face in their thumbnail, which is clickbaiting and sensational to get people to go. So it's a kind of hypocrisy, right? It's weird that people would say like, I don't like Brian because he clickbaits people, but then they use my name to clickbait clickbait their video to get more views, because that's what it's about. And listen, I don't even really mind, to be totally honest with you. If you want to use my name in the title and my face in your thumbnail, I mean, good for you. I mean, whatever it takes to get views, especially if your video is good. Now, if your video is bad, then I wish you wouldn't use my name. But my point is that the game is to try to get people to watch and to grow and so on like that. And that's okay, you know, it's completely fine if you do that. But it's just kind of funny when people complain about me doing it and then they're doing the exact same thing. So the real purpose of this vlog was really to kind of address this thing, because I've had a bunch of my friends on social media that have literally reached out to me over the last few months and said, like, they don't even want to post. They don't want to post on YouTube. They don't want to post on Instagram because they get hate or they turn off their comments and stuff like that. And I want to tell you, you know, if you ever decide you want to try to go down the path where you're going to be in the public eye, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever the case may be, you have to really understand that it can't bother you. It can't get to you. It can't affect your future. I mean, literally, you have to somehow numb yourself to that, however that is. I mean, for me, it took to get to the brink of almost wanting to die to realize that I had to stop caring. Other people can do it like that. You know, Lori, obviously, she never cared, you know, and that's really important. So if you have a vision and you want to reach people with the things that you're passionate about, don't let people slow you down, because unfortunately, the more successful you get, the more people are going to be against you. That is just the way it is. It doesn't matter who you are. Every single person that gains a following has a group of people that hate. They always say if you don't have haters, you haven't arrived, right? Well, that's going to happen. So prepare yourself and mentally realize that the people that are attacking you really are suffering on the inside. So you should have empathy for them and feel bad for them, because, you know, let's face it, it's not normal for someone to hate someone for a long period of time for no reason, or for reasons that don't really make sense. You know, if somebody is doing something wrong and then says, hey, listen, I'm changing, then you shouldn't continue to hate. You should actually say, hey, that's awesome. They listen to me. And by the way, for you guys out there, if you've got constructive criticism for me, put them in the comments. I would love to read what you'd like to see me change, because I'm always willing to grow. I'm not too big of a person to realize that I have faults and I'm willing to change, right? So feel free, have at it down in the comments. Tell me what you think about me. Tell me what you think I need to change. But remember, constructive criticism really comes from love. It comes from a place where people want you to change so that you're a better version of yourself. It doesn't come from hatred, right? And if you have hatred in your heart, you really need to start thinking about you and get better about you, because I'm worried about you as much as anything. Again, it doesn't affect me, but it certainly affects you. So I hope that if you want to go forward, don't let those people stop you, because trust me, if they do it, then they win, and you don't want them to win. And with all that said, I'm getting off my soapbox, and I'm going to step down and say, have an absolutely amazing day. If you don't mind, you can click a video too if you like that. If you want, you can subscribe to my podcast over here. I talk a lot about this type of stuff. Over here, we are getting close to 3 million. Hit the subscription button if you don't mind. Turn your post notifications on. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, be kind to somebody, and I promise I'll see you tomorrow.